The quality is so much better than I expected. It feels like something way more expensive. Honestly, it's kind of a steal. Show support to Nubian narrator and cop some merch before it's sold out again.
Let's start with a sentence that sounds like an insult but isn't. Most of what you call your opinions, you did not arrive at independently. You inherited them, you absorbed them, you were trained into them, not because you're stupid, because you're human, and humans are programmable. The illusion of my opinion: ask someone why they believe what they believe, and you'll usually get one of three answers. I just think it makes sense. It's obvious. I did my own research. What you almost never get is, here are the historical conditions that shaped my framework. Here are the class interests embedded in this position. Here are the emotional incentives that make this belief comfortable for me to hold, because we experience beliefs as ours. They feel authored, but feeling authored is not the same as being authored. Descartes and the dream of independent thought. René Descartes wanted to find one belief that could not be doubted, so he stripped everything away: tradition, religion, the senses, authority, and he arrived at "I think, therefore I am." But people misunderstand what Descartes was doing. He was not proving that humans are independent thinkers. He was showing how difficult it is to find even one belief that isn't inherited. That's the point. Radical doubt is almost impossible to sustain because our thinking is built from material we didn't create. Locke: the mind is not born with opinions. John Locke argued that the mind begins as tabula rasa, a blank slate. No built-in political ideology, no built-in religion, no built-in moral code. Everything comes from experience, environment, education, language, which means your opinions are not self-generated, they are installed. You were positioned before you could think, before you had your first political opinion. You already had a nationality, a class position, a family structure, a cultural narrative, a language. All of these determine what feels normal, what feels offensive, what feels intelligent, what feels ridiculous. You didn't choose any of that, and yet it forms the lens through which you evaluate everything. That's not free authorship, that's preloaded software. Bourdieu: your taste is social, not personal. The sociologist Pierre Bourdieu destroyed the idea that taste is purely individual. Your music taste, food preferences, fashion sense, accent, body language, sense of humor are shaped by your social environment. He called this your habitus, a system of dispositions that feels natural, feels personal, feels chosen, but is actually structured by your position in society. You don't just like what you like what people like you are trained to like. Foucault: power produces what you think is true. Michel Foucault took it even further. He argued that what a society calls truth is not neutral. It is produced by institutions, schools, media, medicine, law, religion, academia. These systems don't just give you information, they define what counts as knowledge, what counts as normal, what counts as deviant, what counts as intelligent. So when you say this is just common sense, what you often mean is, this is what my environment trained me to accept without question. The algorithm is not controlling you, it's revealing you. People love to say the algorithm is brainwashing us. No, the algorithm is showing you what you already respond to, what you already believe, what keeps your attention. It doesn't create your programming. It learns it and then feeds it back to you until it feels like everyone knows this. That's not truth. That's reinforced familiarity. Why beliefs feel like identity. Your opinions are not just ideas, they are social signals, belonging markers, protection mechanisms. Changing your mind is not just updating information, it risks losing your community, losing status, losing certainty, losing self-image. That's why debates don't change minds, because you're not arguing about facts, you're negotiating identity. Humor, reason serves emotion. David Hume said something devastating: reason is and ought only to be the slave of the passions. You don't believe something because it's rational. You believe something because it fits your values, it protects your ego, it aligns with your group. Then reason shows up afterward to defend it. Your arguments are often lawyers, not judges. I did my own research. Let's translate that phrase. I searched within a system designed to show me more of what I already agree with. Search results are not neutral. They are personalized, ranked, filtered. So even your research is shaped by your past behavior, your location, your network, your language. That's not independent. That's feedback loops. The myth of the self-made mind. We love the idea of the independent thinker, the person who sees through everything, thinks for themselves, is immune to influence, but that person does not exist, because thinking requires language, concepts, categories, frameworks, all of which come from somewhere. You can't think outside all systems, you can only think across systems. So are we just robots? No. Programming is not destiny. Here's where agency returns. You didn't write your operating system, but you can examine it, update it, run conflicting code, expose it to new environments. That's what critical thinking actually is. Not having strong opinions, but auditing your own conditioning. Real independent thought is slow and uncomfortable. Independent thinking feels like realizing you might be wrong, being unable to answer a question, disagreeing with your own group, sitting in uncertainty. It does not feel like instant certainty, perfect confidence, moral superiority. Those are signs of alignment with programming, not freedom from it. The cost of reprogramming yourself. If you genuinely question your framework, you will outgrow certain spaces, lose certain conversations, become harder to categorize, feel less certain. That's the price, because your old beliefs weren't just ideas, they were belonging. Where real freedom begins. You don't become free by having no influences. You become freer by knowing what influenced you, seeing your patterns, recognizing your triggers, understanding your defaults. Freedom is not absence of programming, it is awareness of programming. Final reality check. You don't have pure self-created opinions. You have installed frameworks, inherited values, reinforced patterns, and within that, the ability to reflect, to question, to revise, to choose which influences you keep. You are not a completely independent thinker, but you are not helpless either. You are a system that can examine itself, and most people never do. So the real question isn't, is this my opinion? It's who wrote the code I'm running.